This is Dave from Wet Fly Swing, and I'm happy to have Lance Gray on the podcast today. How's it going, Lance?
Good. How are you, Dave?
Good. Good to have
Yeah.
you on here. We are going to have a good conversation about probably some high-level fishing, fly fishing, focused on. You're in California. You got a lot going with presentations, guiding, kind of all that. So we're going to get into that, and I think focus on knots too today because I think it'll be cool to get some. I know knots are a big struggle for some people. So does that sound like a good start for the day?
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, take us back real quick. I love to hear the story on fly fishing. Your first memory, how'd you get into it? Are you been doing this a while, or what's your story?
I've been doing this a while. Yeah. I have a twin brother named Lincoln, which is
Oh, wow.
he's also in the fly fishing industry. But
Hmm.
what's kind of funny is when my dad started us fishing, we were bait fishing. And then he realized that we were going through a lot more bait than what he could afford. And that
Yeah.
was back, in the 70s. So he decided to switch us to fly fishing, which he was tying flies and fly fishing himself. But so we went to fly fishing. And ever since, I mean, it's been
That's it.
boom, boom, boom. So
Yeah. You've been
so
going.
yep, tying flies and fly fishing since
Did
I
you grow
was
up in the same
7,
area
8 years old.
Did you grow up in California, or where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Southern Oregon, actually.
Okay.
From the age of 3 to 13, we lived outside of Medford,
Oh, wow.
Oregon. So then at 13, we moved back to Chico, which were the hometown, and I've been in Chico ever since. And now I live in Willows. I've lived in Willows for the last 23, 24 years. So
Okay, and that's near Chico?
that's near Chico. Yeah, it's about 30 miles west.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of the waters you fish, there's definitely some famous rivers out there, and stillwater too, right? The Feather. What are some of the big ones that you're guiding on?
The Lower Sac.
Lower Sac, yeah.
The Lower Sac, the Feather River for steelhead, and then I do Lake Almanor, which is my big one. That's what I do mostly all through the summer.
Okay.
So
Lake Almanor, yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about some of this today, and but I do want to check on, dig into some on knots because I think that knots, especially for people new to
Yeah.
fly fishing, that's a big struggle. What do you do? Maybe talk about your presentations because you're doing these. Are these mostly online? Are they in person? What do you do there?
Oh no, the presentations are a combination of online or in person. So it just matters on where they're at, and it just matters on the timing. So
Yeah.
like next week I have one as a Zoom because it's all the way down in Riverside, and then the other one is in the Bay Area. So the
Okay.
one all the way down south will be Zoom, and the one in the Bay Area would be in person. So
Yeah.
it's kind of tough getting all the traveling schedules and
Right. So
because
you are
as a,
traveling quite a bit.
yeah, because as a guide, if you do like a in person, you basically are taking 2 days
Yeah.
because of the travel.
Right.
And sometimes you don't get back until, maybe
Yep.
back home until, early in the morning, or you're coming back after you stayed in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So, those take 2 days, but the Zoom ones are really nice because they just, you can do them when you get home
Yeah.
from the river. You're tired, but you can get them done. But
Yeah.
I love doing the presentations, to tell you the truth, Dave,
Yeah.
because it just energizes me.
Yep.
It's probably like your podcast here.
Yeah. It
When
is.
you get done with your podcast, you're like, oh yeah,
Well, there's two types of people. That's the awesome thing because I've done like 1,000 interviews. I mean, probably more than any fly fishing. I'm guessing any podcasts out there. But I'm the type of person that actually get energized.
Mhm.
And some people I think are the opposite. I think some people get drained by the end of the day. But at the end of the day, for me, I'm ready to go for more. It just sounds like you're the same way.
Yeah, I'm ready to go for more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
talking fishing is
Easy.
super easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I think it'd be cool to dig into this knots a little bit because, and we're going to talk about some of the other stuff you do. You mentioned steelhead, stillwater is huge and all of that stuff, but maybe start there. So let's say somebody new, they're new to fly fishing, they're coming in. What are the knots that you think are the key, maybe few knots they really need to know to get going?
well, okay. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of easy when it
Yeah.
comes to knots. And I use knots that are as close to 100% knots as possible. Okay. Because every
Yep.
knot breaks before the tensile strength
Right.
of the tippet. So the perfection loop is number one
Okay.
when you're looping like your leader onto your fly line and that kind of stuff,
Yep.
or your versa leaders or something like that. Loop to loop is super simple, super strong, and it's a great knot.
Yep.
For my terminal knots and for what I call my marriage knots, where I'm marrying like tippet to a leader or two pieces of tippet
Yep.
together,
Yep.
I use the tie fast nail tool.
Hmm. Really? So
Uh,
instead of a blood knot or a surgeon's knot, this knot. Okay. Well,
right.
now what is this about?
Well, the tie fast was developed in Chico
Okay.
by a guy named Ron Lewis, and my brother worked for him for years, and he was actually the sales rep for them for years, and then he became the manager of the company.
Mm-hmm.
But the tie fast is a simple tool that ties a nail knot. And everybody's like, oh, you can't tie a fly on with a nail knot. Well, you can.
You can.
Yeah, you just loop it through the eye of the hook and then just tie a nail knot. And it's a very strong knot. It's in the 98% range.
Yep.
And it holds very well. And you can do a lot of stuff with it. And that's what's so great is that you can tie on your flies, or you can do back-to-back nail knots where you actually tie two nail knots, and then when you pull them together,
Hmm.
they push against one another, and that's your
Right.
marriage knot.
Yeah.
And what's so great about it is that it's just 4 turns around the tool and then back down through it, and it's consistent. It's
Yeah.
always giving
It's
you a
always perfect.
knot. Yeah, because as you well know, when you tie like an improved clinch knot or a uni or
Yep.
whatever, you're always putting, maybe an extra turn on there, or
Right.
you're not
Or
putting an extra.
or not enough, right? And then it's never sometimes not perfect, right? And I'm always in the school of thought that if my knot's not perfect, especially steelhead fishing, I'm cutting it off and doing it again.
Exactly, because you want knots that are not going to fail. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just part of the game. You want to throw all the aces on the deck, but you want
Yep.
to have all the aces in your hand. So the tie fast tool, everybody, I mean, anybody can go look at it. They're online, and there's
Yeah.
videos on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. This is the well, we can't see it here, but it's
Yeah.
yeah, I know the tool, and I actually it's
Yep.
yeah, it's hard to explain. It's a unique tool, but I know the nail knot well because I grew up. I mean, that was the tool I used. Always fly
Yep.
line to leader until the loop knot stuff came in, right? And now I don't use the
Correct.
nail knot. But I love the nail knot's it's a cool knot, but it's not. Would you say it's easy to learn compared to say a I don't know, what's the blood knot or something like that?
With the nail knot tool, it's super
It's easy.
simple.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not hard at all. It's not
Yeah.
like you have to actually go find a nail. The old days, they used to put a nail underneath it
Yeah,
and
the nail.
run the line back through.
Right.
Back in the 80s, when I worked at Powell's Fly Shop and Powell Rod Company, the guy that I was the manager in there, we used to be, and before the tie fast, we used to use cut off little
Yeah.
the ball.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm thinking of the plastic, the little.
No, this was the
I'm thinking of the Q-tips or what, or not Q. Yeah, there was a tool or a.
this was the thing that you screwed into your hand pump to blow up your balls, to blow up your basketballs or
Right. I never
footballs.
thought about that. Right.
And what he did is he cut the end of it off, so it was completely round. It wasn't tapered.
Yeah, there it is. I got it right
Yeah,
there.
one of those.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you could use that. Yeah.
So you
So
can
what,
use that as the nail tool. Yeah.
so what we use, yeah, we used. I think it was the Q-tip. You know, it has a. They had plastic, and we cut the Q-tip and have that plastic cylinder similar.
Yep.
That's cool. Okay.
No, and the nice thing about that knot, like I said before, it ties a consistent knot every time.
Yeah.
And it's a good knot. It's the strong knot. And once you get used to it, it's extremely fast.
Yeah. It's extremely fast.
Yeah.
the one interesting thing, again, going back to my dad, he was the old timer, and he always talked about with fly tying and everything, trying to use the least amount of tools as possible, right? Learn stuff. So his old school. So we did, although we used the nail knot tool, but this is one where you actually have to have a tool. Do you find that? What's your school of thought there?
Well, I and that's the thing is when I was a kid, okay, my dad made us sit there and take old or cheap fishing line and tie knots all winter long.
Yep, me too. Me
And we
too.
would tie the improved clinch knot, the blood knot, all of the,
Yep.
the uni knot, all these knots.
Yeah.
And, then when I got into boating, you had to learn knots. And then when I
Yep.
got into, rock climbing and doing
Hmm.
rappelling, you had to learn knots. And then when Lincoln started working for Ron, he was like, hey, you need to try this. So, and that's been 30 something years
Yeah.
ago.
So you're
And
just
I'm
using
like,
it.
aha,
Right.
it was like the
Yeah.
aha moment. So,
So for somebody new to, let's just say somebody's new to fly fishing today, you still think that's a good tool, a good way to go?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And
I
that'll
mean,
tie on
they
your
can,
leaders.
yeah, they can kind of do the opposite. They can learn on the tool and then get consistent knots and then
Okay.
branch out.
Okay. That's awesome. So that's awesome. So we got two knots there. So the perfection loop with the loops, the tie fast tool, and then what else? What other knots would somebody new need? Is that it?
Well, and that's the thing. That's what's so great about that nail knot tool is that you can use it for your terminal flies. You can use it so you can marriage two lines
Oh,
together.
right. You can do
And
everything.
then you can actually use it to tandem fly. So let's say if you're tying off the bend of a hook for another fly, so for trying to tie onto the bend of the hook, you can
Right.
actually just take the material, the tippet material, make a loop in your hand, and then tie in the nail knot tool, and then you actually got a loop with the knot, and it's a
Yep.
Hangsman noose. So when you put it on the bend, it just tightens right down.
Oh, it tightens up. Wow.
Yeah. So you can that tool you can use. I mean, I use it for everything. I
So the
mean,
tie fast tool is, I mean, this is like it's like an infomercial for tie fast,
well,
right?
yeah, but I don't have them. I
Yeah.
usually have them hanging around my neck,
Yeah.
and that's like my golden.
Yep.
They're always right there, and it's funny because when I get like I have this last couple of days, I had a new guy on the boat that I've never fished with, and he was like, God, you're fast. And then he goes, what's that tool? Then he's like, wow, that's super. And then I
Yep.
started showing him different things with it. And he's like, oh, I got to get me one of them.
Right. All right. So it's one of those. Yeah. You got to have it.
Yeah. But a lot of people already have them, especially guys from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Because they used to do a lot of the shows and they used to sit there and tie with them. And
Okay.
people go, oh, yeah, I'll take one of those. $8, here you go.
Right. So you can still pick them up. Where would you pick one of those up?
You can pick them up everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. They're out
Yeah,
there.
they're available online. They're available at the big stores. They're
Anywhere.
Fly Shop in Reading.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
They're
Okay.
everywhere. Yeah.
So
And there's knockoffs. And
there are. Yeah. There's lots of knockoffs.
Well, yeah, there's knockoffs, but these are actually still being made in California.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And is it the tie fast, the website for them, the direct website? Is it tiefast.com?
I believe so. Yes,
Yeah.
I still think it is.
I see some on Amazon and
Yeah, I would have to check, but
Yeah.
there's all kinds of videos on YouTube and that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
his company that he works for now, Lincoln, is kind of like a holding company, but they have other tools
Oh, they do.
that they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the boomerang
The
company?
Boomerang is one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yep.
see it. Yeah, there's a bunch of tools. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that. Now, do you do presentations on just knots, or talk about your presentations that you do?
No, I don't do just knots. No.
Yeah.
So what I do is let's say we're doing the lower sack.
Yeah, lower sack.
And we're talking about, access areas or drift times or
Yep.
all this different stuff. And
Yep.
then we get to, I'll show a diagram of my rigging and I'll go through how I rig it. And then, we'll talk about the knots that I use during that portion of the presentation. But I have presentations just on like one's the deep water indicator where we fish the indicator 25, 30 feet.
Oh, wow.
On a straight line.
In a lake?
In a lake.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're using, the different knots, but we actually just talk about how to use that leader, how to tie it, how to
Yeah.
use it, how to fish it. And that's all
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, you got the whole leader, the whole rig set up for,
right.
and that's interesting, right? Because deep, we've talked still waters a decent amount on here, and a lot of people talk, yeah, the shallower lake. In fact, you probably know Denny Rickers, right? He's been
Oh,
on
yeah.
here, and he's talked to me, even said like, just stay in the shallow water. Don't even worry about going deep at all, right? There's no reason to mess. He's pretty opinionated. But
Well,
what's your take
yeah.
on that?
Well, it matters on the lake
Yeah,
too.
it
If
does.
you have a cold water lake where you have lots of cold water, like for example, Lake Almanor. Lake Almanor during the spring, we have a lot of shallow water and we have great fishing in the shallow water.
Yeah,
But when June happens and July and August happen, the fish leave the shallow water and they go to deep water
yeah,
or they go to the springs. So you have to fish deeper to get to them.
yeah.
And sometimes the water gets so warm on the surface that, like on my boat, I have sonar, so I can actually tell
Oh yeah.
the temperature going down.
Oh wow.
And there's places where you'll see a biomass line, and then past that biomass line is too hot for the fish.
Yeah.
So we don't even fish. We're like, okay, we're done for a month.
Oh wow.
Because if we pull the fish through that hot water,
Oh yeah,
we're
that's
going
not
to
good.
kill it.
Wow.
And I don't want to kill big brown trout and
No.
big rainbows.
No.
So,
Okay, so that's your deep. So you guys get down at a certain time down deep where the fish are, and then on that setup, talk about maybe talk about that rig a little bit. What is your
well,
leader? Yeah.
the rig's pretty easy,
Yeah.
actually. It came about, and I've written about it too.
Okay.
There's articles on it in the California Fly Fisher magazine.
Oh, okay. Yep.
But what's so cool about it is just a piece of 20-pound fluorocarbon you can make them 20 feet long. You can make them 25 feet long. I have ones that are 40 feet long,
Hmm.
and then we have 5 feet of tippet off the bottom of it. So what it is it's basically a barrel swivel on either end. And then you have one bobber stop that's up on the top,
Mm-hmm.
so towards your fly line, and then you put an indicator on.
Yep.
And when the whole thing sinks, the indicator just rises to the bobber stop and stops it. And then you're at your set depth.
Yep. And a bobber stop is that just a piece of what is the bobber stop?
The bobber stop, you got to go to the dart schools or the dart shops.
It's more of a conventional fishing type of thing. Right?
Yeah, but what it is it's a little rubber piece.
Yeah.
That you can thread onto your leader, and it stops your bobber, and it works on friction. And so you can move it up and down on your leader. So
really easily you can move this thing super. Yeah, it seems like a great idea.
Yeah. Well, the long story to that, but we used to make our own. But the great thing about these is that they're available everywhere. But you can take them. In fact, most of the fly shops are now carrying them. But you can move them up and down, and you can set your depth. So what happens is this whole leader sinking because you have a fly on it, and then you have a little weight, and the whole leader sinking through the water column, and the indicator's just laying there on the surface. And then right when it hits the bobber stop, it just pops up, and you're vertical.
Oh wow!
And what's great is that it's highly sensitive too. I mean, if a fish grabs it, it's going to shake it or do whatever it does on the indicator. And you can cast it too, because you can, when you strip it all the way in, you have the fluorocarbon comes in through your guides and you can cast it, and then you have to kind of mend to it to get the line back up.
You're not casting 20 or 30 feet of leader.
Right. Because the indicator falls all the way to the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And so then when it all sinks again, the indicator rises to the top.
Gotcha. This is cool. And what is the bobber you're using?
Well, the indicator bobber I use is actually mine.
What would it be called?
I have older ones sitting on my desk over here.
Yeah.
This actually looks like this.
Okay. And for those that can't see it, because most people are going to be on audio listening, it looks like a phone. I mean, it's similar to a thingabob, right? It looks like it's round.
it's a foam ball.
Foam.
It's a hard foam ball.
Yep.
And then it's painted, so it's two-tone.
Yeah.
So it's orange on the top, white on the bottom.
Yep.
And then it has an eyelet on the bottom of it.
Okay.
where you can run your leader through, and then it has a little what I call telltale, has a little stem on it that,
It-
yeah,
Is that what keeps it? That's when you know when it's up.
that's when you know it's dead
Yeah,
drift or you're
right.
straight up is when the telltale's
So
up.
that's the difference with the thing of bobber. Some of those other bobbers, they don't have that thing that'll tell you when it's vertical.
Correct.
Right.
So this is the one I use.
Yeah.
I have two of these. This is the bigger one. This is the 1 inch.
Okay.
And then I have a 5/8 inch one. But the 1 inch holds up about a little bit more than 1/8 of an ounce.
Yeah.
So if you have like a balance fly down there that has a tungsten bead on it, and then you have a split shot above it,
it
will hold that up.
It'll hold it.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
the nice
cool.
thing about that system is that it's not that complicated.
No, it's simple.
But it works, and you can move it. So if let's say you're fishing in 25 feet deep of water, and then you're like, oh, you go over to 15 feet of water or 12 feet of water, all you had to do is just move your bobber stop down.
Super easy.
Well, yeah, but the traditionalists, this is the stuff I get all the time.
Oh, you get some blowback on this?
I get some blowback, some little feedback from people, but they don't like the fluorocarbon going through their guides.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, well, you can
Why
make
is that?
all these. Well, they think it's going to hurt their fly line on the reel, or when you catch a fish, you're pressuring the fish, and the fish comes in, and you're running fluorocarbon right over your fly line. Well, it's 20 pound.
Yeah.
And if it was 8 pound, then it'd probably cut into your fly line because it's super thin.
Yeah.
But 20 pound is big.
You're using 20-pound fluoro.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Because
yeah.
Well, the other reason why I use the 20 pound fluorocarbon, there's two reasons. One is that the bobber stop runs on heat. It's friction. So if you move it back and forth, what happens is the heat of moving it back and forth on fluorocarbon is fine because fluorocarbon has a good outer shell.
Oh.
But if you use monofilament, it will start doing the little pigtail.
Oh, it will. It won't be straight anymore.
It won't be straight anymore because you're pretty.
So you use fluoro pretty much always for your long section.
Right. And then the other reason why I use the 20, and I learned this the hard way, and this is kind of a funny story, but tip tops on fly rods aren't ceramic. They don't have a ceramic,
No, you're not.
centerpiece. So if you catch a lot of fish with the 8 pound fluorocarbon and you're reeling it onto your fly line, they'll actually make a groove in your tip top.
Oh, wow.
Because it'll just start, it's just like a little wire. It will just,
So fluoro will do that.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I've actually broke fish off because, all of a sudden your leader's gone. And you're
wow.
And then you're like looking at you're thinking, okay, I got bad fluorocarbon. And then you're thinking, oh, maybe I had a knot in it or maybe this. And then it happens again the same day. And you're like, all right.
Wow.
What else?
How do you fix that then?
Well, you got to put a new tip top on your rod.
Do you get, so there aren't ceramic tip tops to get?
Well, you can if you want to, but
just put a new
20 pound fluorocarbon solves that problem.
Oh, it does. So there's no issue if it's 20 pound, you're not going to have it, right?
Yeah, because it's so big in diameter that you're not going to have that. So this is what guides, and it's funny because when other guys talk to other guys, this is the stuff that we talk about.
This is great. No, I mean this is the money stuff right here.
Yeah, this is the money stuff.
It gets people thinking. I mean, and then what is the leader? Because we have that conversation too. In Steelhead, Maxima, you hear Nom has some good stuff coming. What is for this setup, the Stillwater stuff? What type of leader? What brand?
Well, I use the cigar or the cigar or wherever you want, whatever you want to pronounce it.
Yes.
The yellow
stuff that's used for, where is that one? I guess I hear a lot about that. I haven't used it, but is that kind of used everywhere?
I use it a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So
it's good stuff.
So you have the setup you have, which you talked about, the bobber stop. You got the 20 or 30 whatever length, and then a little and then does the swivel go between the leader and the tip, and then where's the second swivel go?
Yeah, the second the bottom swivel or the terminal swivel is your connection between the 20 pound fluorocarbon and your tippet.
Yeah.
And what's nice about it is that you can use it as a tippet ring. for
Oh, right.
example, because you don't have to tie on, if you want to tie on 12 pound, let's say you're at Pyramid Lake and you want to
Yep.
use the system, you're using 14 pound,
Yeah.
because you have big fish. Lake Almanor, I use 10 pound. When we midge fish up there,
Yeah.
and we start tying midges on, we'll go all the way down to 6 pound.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you can, that swivel, that barrel swivel allows you to tie on smaller tippet
Mm-hmm.
or big tippet.
Or big.
It's a nice marriage
That's
area.
really cool.
And
Wow.
then you can put a split shot above it, which doesn't ride down onto your fly. And then 5 feet from
Uh,
that, 5 feet from that barrel, the tippet section, I have to my fly.
yeah, to your fly. And
Yeah.
then, and does it matter, 20 pound down to say really light tippet as far as what you're doing on the, no, it doesn't matter at all because sometimes turning over the fly, stuff like that or
Well,
whatever.
you're talking like 5 feet for your tippet
It's not
section. So
much.
you're not talking like 14 feet where you're
Yeah.
trying to turn it over.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's pretty short. So you don't want to go, there's no need to go up to 6, 7, 8, 9 feet on your tippet. Like 5 is
no,
good.
no,
Yeah.
because you want to keep it regulated. You want to make sure that everything that you do when it comes to it is measured correctly, because that way you'll know when you're fishing. If you're in 25 feet of water, you can pull back the bobber stop on your what I call the drop leader,
Yeah.
and you can pull it back like 8 inches. And when you fish it, you're going to be 8 inches from the bottom, or you can move it back up so you're 4 inches from the bottom.
Right. Yeah. You can
And
get
the
just
big fish
perfect.
live on the bottom.
They live, do they? So in Stillwater, those big
The
fish,
big fish are on the bottom.
they're on the bottom. So you
Yeah.
got to get down. So you're not, how are you putting the fly kind of right out there as close as you can
I'm
to,
trying to get it when I'm using like a balance hex or
yeah.
a balance leech or something, or even a midge. That bottom fly is right there on the bottom.
Oh, it's on the bottom. Yeah. You're
I mean,
actually,
it's 2 or 3 inches from the bottom.
okay.
The closer I can get it to the bottom, the better.
Yep. Wow.
But then you start tweaking stuff. Okay. Let's say you're fishing midges. Well, midges are found in mud.
Yep.
That's where they live.
Yep.
Okay. Hexes are
Yep.
found in mud.
Right.
But if you're fishing this system with a balanced minnow, you want to fish it the transition zones from mud to rock,
Yeah.
or mud to weed bed, because that's where, or rock to weed bed, because the minnows are moving. And usually they try to stick in the rocks or the weeds because those are the safer areas. They're not out in the open areas where they can get eaten.
Hmm.
So I go back to that little Walt Disney movie, the Finding Nemo,
Oh, right.
where
Yeah.
his mom always told him, don't go out there, don't go out there,
Yep.
always stay in here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Gotcha. Wow. It's okay. And then you mentioned the sonar too. Talk about that. I mean, I'm kind of old school. I haven't really got the new tech. Is this the one with
well,
the,
there's so much
yeah.
tech.
Yeah. There's so much
And
tech with it.
mine's pretty simple compared to a
Yeah.
lot of people. But the sonar just gives you a better picture. So you can, look at different things. There's sonar out there now that you can actually watch your fly line.
Yeah. We've heard about the forward facing sonar where it's like a video game.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is kind of a, almost, you get to that point where, yeah, at what point is it not really,
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
there's at the last SHOT Show I was at, there's even goggles
oh, wow.
you can
You can
put
be in the
on,
boat. Now that's,
and you can
so
see it.
goggles. So you're not even looking at nature anymore. Now
You're not even
actually,
looking at nature
that's,
anymore. No.
yeah.
And
Wow.
I'm more old school than I
Yeah.
am new school. I
Yeah.
don't have the forward facing sonar. I
No.
just have the regular sonar.
Yep.
And
Right.
I want people to fish. I don't want people
Yeah.
to
No.
and my boat originally had 3 screens on it, where there was one up on the bow, one back on the stern, and then one at the control panel or at the steering wheel. And I took them all off except for the one at the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Because guys were looking down at the screen
Oh, right.
and not
Yeah.
just looking around and
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
enjoying
That's
nature.
right. That'd be kind of crazy because I think in my style, I really don't have, any of that. And I would be out in a lake and it's like, okay, well, I'm out there trying to figure it out. And I'm struggling there because I'm trying to figure out what level they're at, where they're at. So you need a little bit of tech, right, to
You
kind of
need a
figure
little
out
bit of tech.
temperatures.
you really do, especially in stillwater. You need to know the depth, and you
Yeah.
need to know what the surface is down there.
You need to know, like, what are the key things you need to know in stillwater? You need to know like the depth of the
The
water.
depth of
You
the
need to
water,
know temperature.
temperature, and
What
then if it's rock, mud, or weed.
Right, yeah, and you need to know that. So those are kind of key you can get. And
Those
then
are,
after that, on yours, are you really looking at kind of seeing the fish finder, right?
well,
Obviously.
yeah, you can see fish,
Yeah.
but like when you're driving or when you're just like if you just have the trolling motor down and you're working into an area, you'll actually see like arrows, like little like boomerangs. Those are
Yeah.
the fish.
Right.
And then and you can set it for, I mean, there's so many settings on those things,
Right. Yep.
but you can set it where you can see those when you're stationary. Mine, it just shows lines. So those are fish that are swimming
Okay.
underneath the boat back and forth, and the transducer's picking them up. And then
Yeah.
you can get like the forward facing sonar is really great because you can put it down and you can actually see fish in real time swimming at you.
We're swimming at you, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you can actually watch them take your fly,
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
and
Well,
it's just and
it's
that's
yeah.
good. That's good for a guide to look at, and you can say, okay, here comes fish or whatever.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
it's really bad for clients to sit there and look at
No, yeah, you don't want that. You want them to learn a little bit about,
how
I
to
think of it again,
fish.
I'm out there. I think having some of that knowledge of depths and is key because let's take that. Say you're not seeing the fish really, but how do you go from knowing the depth of the water? It sounds like with the deep that you're going down deep. So that's pretty easy. You're not
Well,
midway in the column looking for fish or
and
describe
that's
that.
the thing is the more precise you have on your leader. So if your leader's 20 feet long, your drop
Yeah.
leader, and your tippet's 5, you know that you have 25 feet. So if you move down your bobber stop a foot, you're at 24 feet now.
Yep.
You move it
Yep.
down 2 feet, you're at 23.
Yep.
The other thing to do is to use, a lot of guys used to use forceps, and they used to put
Oh,
forceps on the fly and then sink it down, and then the indicator would lay over, and then they would adjust the indicator until it stood up.
yeah.
And
Right.
then they would know they were on the bottom or close to the bottom, and then they would take the forceps off and fish.
Yep.
And then some guys, a lot of my buddies have, and I do too, we have these little devices that we just alligator clip
Oh, yeah.
on there. And those are the fine tuning things
Oh, okay.
because this is when my nerdiness comes out.
Right.
So if you have two clients, and you have a client on the front of the boat and a client on the back of the boat, you might have a difference in elevation on the bottom of the lake, 6, 12, 18 inches. Okay. It's not completely flat.
Right. Right.
So you're fine tuning them
Hmm.
with those. And
Yeah. Huh.
a lot of guys make their own.
Yeah.
There's some out there. The depth setter is one that's commercially made.
Okay.
But what it does is sets your depth, so you can actually, pinpoint it a little bit better.
Yeah, I see. Huh.
Yeah. Here's mine. I just thought that it was up there on the desk. Here's mine. So for the people that can't see it at home, I'll explain it. So if I can get it in the right spot, there we
There
go.
you go. There you
So
go.
it has a little alligator.
Oh yeah, that's what I was picturing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it has a tungsten weight down here.
Yeah. So basically it's a little metal clip and then
Yep.
it's got a tungsten weight is kind of welded onto the end of the
Yeah,
metal clip.
for your old guys, it's a roach clip.
Yeah,
That's
roach
what I
clip.
call it.
Exactly.
And then
It's a roach
and then
clip.
it has the weight, and you just clip it on and then sink it down.
That's right. That's right.
And
Oh wow,
what's
that's
nice
cool.
about that is that you can fine tune the two depths on either side of the boat from bow.
So you're trying to get within
I'm-
like inches.
I'm getting within inches.
And
yes.
what you're thinking is that again, you know where these fish are because you saw them on your
right.
fish finder, right? You kind of
Right.
know where they're at, and then
Yep.
you just want to get them right in front of their face. So it's
I
just
want to
sitting-
get them right in front or a little
a
slightly
little,
above.
yeah,
I don't want it below them.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
the big fish live on the bottom.
right,
So I'm always looking for big fish.
yeah,
And I might even like, for example, if I have two people out and I come into an area where I want to fish, and there's fish that are suspended up in the water column and there's fish on the bottom, I'll place both of them two different places. I'll put one on the bottom and I'll put one suspended. So I'm
Yeah.
fishing both zones at
Yeah.
the
Hitting
exact
both.
same time
Yep.
with two different rods.
Are
Now,
those are those fish just finding, you got some on the bottom. Are they stratifying based on water temperatures? Why are they a little higher? What's going on there?
and that's the thing. They'll find a cool spot. They'll find a
Yeah.
thermal in there,
Right. Or a spring, there'd be
or a
something, whatever.
spring,
Yeah.
or where the spring hits the hot water and they're comfortable in. It's
Yeah.
and that's what's so nice about stillwater, and you can't be arrogant. I say this to people because people go, "Oh, the guys out there trolling." Well, those trollers know where all the thermals are at. Okay,
Yeah.
because they're putting their trolling gear right in those thermals where those fish are holding.
Yeah.
So if you listen to trollers, they'll tell you, "Oh, I'm fishing 35 feet down, and I'm going, 3/4 of a mile per hour, and I'm fishing this." And you're like, "Okay, so the fish are 35 feet down. They
Yeah.
like it slow, and you're fishing a minnow pattern." Okay, so that tells you, okay, well, I can sink something that low or into that column, and it's a minnow pattern, and I can fish it slow.
Yeah.
And you can take information from them and use it in fly
Right.
fishing. And they do the exact same thing. They talk to me all the time at
Oh
Lake
yeah.
Almanor, and they're like, "Hey," or they'll see me fishing a spot, and a lot of times they'll see me fishing a spot, and they laugh because they can't get in there
Oh
because
yeah,
it's
too
between
shallow.
buoys, or
Oh
it's
right.
and they
And you're
can't.
getting in there with your drift boat?
No, I have a big boat. I have a big 19-foot lake boat.
Oh, you do. Right. So a
Yeah,
big
actually, I
big
have
boat.
two of them.
Gotcha. So
But
so Lake Al now, so what's the name of the lake?
Lake Almanor,
Yeah, Almanor, right? Almanor.
Almanor, yeah.
And so describe this lake a little bit. It sounds like there's definitely some mix of gear and fly anglers up here.
Well, yeah, it's a big lake. It's 12 miles, almost 12 miles long, and 7 miles
Oh
across.
wow. And it's near Chico?
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half out of Chico. It's by Chester, California.
Okay.
But it's up right at the base of Mount Lassen.
Oh, Mount Lassen. Yeah, okay, yeah. So
Right.
you got Shasta, Lassen, and then
Right.
yeah.
And
Okay.
that's actually the North Fork of the Feather River runs into Lake Almanor.
Oh really?
And then when it leaves Lake Almanor, it goes down into the canyon, Highway 70 Canyon, then down to Lake
Gotcha.
Oroville, then
Oh wow. And
down
then
to
then into the steelhead water down below.
yeah.
Oh
The
yeah.
Steelhead
Wow.
water's down below
So
Lake
you're
Oroville.
fishing, so you're hitting the lake water for Stillwater in the
Yep.
same where you're fishing steelhead down below.
Yep. Yep.
That's cool. And are these, so these steelhead can't migrate up through
No, they can't get
no,
past Oroville Dam. No.
Orville
They
Dam. Oh,
can't
there's
get,
Dam.
there's actually a fish barrier about 4 miles away from the lake
Yeah. Okay.
that they
So,
can't get up.
and what are the species? So in the lake, what are the species that are there?
The species up in the lake are brown trout, kokanee, landlocked
Kokanee.
salmon,
Yep.
rainbows, smallmouth bass.
Yep.
Those are your
Yep. And
your
so when
full-
you go on and if somebody was going on a guide trip, what's the time of year that you'd be
well,
hitting?
and that's what's so cool about Lake Almanor is that you have basically three major seasons. You have the spring, which is April and May. You have the midge hatch, and that's up in the shallow portion of the lake. And then June and somewhere into July a little bit, we have the hexagenia hatch,
Oh yeah, the late night,
which
right?
is the evening. Yeah. And then in September we have the pond smelt, and the pond smelt is a little bay fish. It's actually the real name of it is the wasaki.
Hmm.
It's a Japanese bay fish that they put in the lakes.
They actually put them in there?
Department of Fish and Wildlife put them in there in the 70s. In a lot of the Northern California lakes to feed the fish.
Wow.
They're there for the bait fish to feed the fish.
Crazy.
And in September, they go on spawn, and they're what they call a free spawner. So they actually gather up in shallow water, 12 to 15 feet deep. They like a mud bottom, and then the females raise up in the water column, release their eggs, and then the males come in and inseminate. And
Yep.
then the brown trout and the rainbows come in and they eat all these thousands of pond smelt, and then they'll push
Wow.
them against the rocks like stripers do, and
Holy
they'll
cow.
go and eat them. And
So that's how these trout are getting big.
well, yeah, they grow
That's part of
about
it.
two. Yeah, on average, a Lake Almanor fish will grow 2 pounds a year.
2 pounds a year. So you're saying like what's a big fish out there?
Big fish is is 20 pounds.
20 pounds. So this
Yeah,
is a
20-pound
similar.
browns.
We
Yep.
always hear, you hear a lot of the lakes is interesting because, from Kamloops up in,
Yeah.
Canada, all these, but you hear a lot about Pyramid.
Right. Pyramid
Pyramid
has
Lake
big fish. Yeah.
has big fish for sure, but you're talking,
Yep.
pretty decent. These are huge too. A 20-pound fish is a giant fish.
Right. They're, a big brown runs between 10 and 20.
Yeah.
A lot of 12s, a lot of 14s.
Yep.
The rainbows will get that big. They'll get in the 14-pound range, 15-pound range. They
Yeah.
won't get as big as the browns will.
Yep.
And then the landlocked salmon, the kokanee, will get into the 3 or 4-pound range.
3 and 4. Okay.
And then the
So,
bass, and that's the thing that's underutilized up there. The bass fishing is phenomenal.
Hmm.
And the bass, the smallmouth big smallmouth will get into the 8-pound range.
wow.
Yeah. I actually had a client years ago that we were doing the hex hatch, and he caught this big smallmouth. It was probably 8, maybe even 9 pounds. It was big. And he looks at me and he goes, I've traveled all around the world trying to catch big bass. He goes, all I had to do was go an hour up from my house and catch the biggest bass of my life.
Right.
A smallmouth.
Smallmouth. Yeah. Smallmouth. Yeah. Right.
And we do the float and fly up there, which you probably heard of that, which is the same system basically as the deep water indicator. We're just using a shorter leader, but we're putting a float with a bait fish fly underneath it.
Uh-huh.
And we're fishing those around the points and around.
So it's the same thing we described, just using a bait fish imitation.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
And we're doing that. That's turned the float and fly. The other one's the deep water indicator. But yeah, and that's what's so cool is you can do. I'm usually up there. I tried it. Well, my cabin, we have a family cabin up there.
Yeah.
That my
on
brother
the lake.
At the lake. Yeah, we're about
nice.
200 yards away from the lake.
Yep.
But so I'm usually up there when the snow melts.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually leave when the snow starts to fly.
Oh, okay. So like in the March, snow's melting, something
like that.
Well,
in April. Usually it's April is when we turn the water back on.
Oh, okay.
We actually have a community water. So there's like 15, 16 cabins that are on the same water source.
Oh, wow. Just on a well?
On a well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then that's turned off. In fact, we're going to go up there tomorrow, and that's what we're doing tomorrow.
Oh, you're turning it off? Yeah, because now as we're talking, it's almost November. It's actually, today's Halloween. And so you're kind of turning things, you're ready to, once you lock things up, are you not out there in the winter at all?
I'm not up there in the winter time.
It gets it. So you're pretty decent elevation?
It's 4,700 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it gets a lot of snow. We're right in the snow belt. Gets a lot of snow, gets in the 20s, the teens in the winter time.
Yeah, it's cold. Right.
Yeah, it's cold. There's fishing up there during that time, but
that's it.
Cold.
So Lake Almanor, so that's your big, when you're guiding, that's a place you're heading to.
That's where I'm up. I'm usually up there 6 months out.
So you got it dialed in. That's awesome. And then it sounds like you're doing some other stuff. Maybe give us a rundown. So what other than the lake stuff, what else are you doing throughout the year?
Well, okay. So there's a couple. I do lake. I do the Lower Sac.
The Lower Sac,
is from Redding all the way down to Anderson, down to almost to Red Bluff.
Yeah.
We drift that in the drift boat, which my drift boat's right behind me.
Yeah, right there. Yep. Yeah. What kind of drift boat you got there?
Fishcraft.
Yeah, Fishcraft. Okay.
The 18-footer. It's
Oh wow.
Fishcraft is no longer in business, but
they're not.
No, that's a 25-year-old boat.
No kidding. Fishcraft. Yeah. So it's 18. Yeah, that's a big boat.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Decent size for a drift boat, right?
For a drift boat, yeah. There's bigger ones, but this one's pretty big.
Okay.
And then I do the Feather River for steelhead, and that's below Lake Oroville. So from Oroville down to Gridley, which is the next city down, we do steelhead. And then I do Puda Creek, which is a little stillwater. It's a little tailwater that's down in almost to Vacaville, which is the East Bay. The San Francisco Bay, they call that the East Bay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is a little tailwater that runs from Lake Berryessa out to the Sacramento River. And it has wild trout in it. The Sacramento has wild trout in it. The Feather just has steelhead. There's
just
no
steelhead.
Trout. They're all steelhead.
Yep.
But and then there's those are for my tailwaters that I fish. But I also do something that's kind of cool that a lot of people aren't doing. Is I do what I call the tour. And the tour is a combination of a guided trip, a workshop, and a knot tying clinic.
Oh, see, now you're talking. This sounds pretty cool. The
Yeah.
tour.
So
Yeah.
what we do is so let's say you want to learn Puda Creek.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Puda,
And,
right.
and you fished it before, but you
You
really
haven't
haven't.
caught anything. Yeah, you've been on Puda, you've been skunked so far.
Yeah, you really haven't done that great. Blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah. So what I do is I get 3 people together, and we do the tour. And so I go through. I start at the very top end of the creek, and I'll work all the way to the bottom, and we'll show you all the access areas, how to go from one side to
Hmm.
the other side, where to wait at, what to do if you're here versus over there,
Yep.
and how we fish it. And we go
Right.
through the
So like a
hash.
high level, you're driving, doing a high level
We're doing
of the whole area.
well. We're driving, but we're getting out and walking some of the trails
Okay.
and
Yeah, for
looking at a
sure.
lot of the stuff. And then we're talking about runs and how I fish them and what I fish them with and
Yep.
so on and so forth. And then we rig. So if somebody wants to Euro, or if somebody wants the high stick, or if somebody wants to use the indicator rig with nymphs, then we do all that and we rig all those. So
Yep.
everybody's
To the
rigged.
rig. Yep.
And then we have lunch, and then we go fish. And I can work with all 3 people individually on, casting or reading water or wading
Whatever they
skills,
need.
whatever. And then the day ends around 3:30, 4 o'clock, and everybody has a whole bunch of knowledge. And then I give them a handout that they can write on. And,
Hmm.
these guys is great. They show up there. I give them clipboards and a handout
Nice.
with a map of it and everything, and then a
Yeah.
diagram of all the riggings and all that. And they're writing on it. They're taking
Sure.
telephones and taking pictures of everything,
Oh yeah.
and it's really great because you get, like I tell people, you get like three or 4 years of knowledge. Just
Yeah.
here
Right.
you go.
You're not just focused on necessarily getting them to catch a fish. You're doing kind of, it's
Correct.
more of a school sort of
I'm
thing.
doing the Old Testament. You teach a man to fish, you
Yep.
feed him forever. But if you show him,
Exactly. Yeah. And
So-
and are you and then when do the knot tying come in?
well, the knot tying comes in during the rigging.
Yeah, during the rigging.
So when they're rigging, I tell them, okay, this is how I rig, and I show them with the tie fast tool, and then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. Then sometimes they'll use it,
Right.
or they'll use whatever knot they want to use, and it's we go back and forth on knots and
Yeah.
how I rig and we set it up so they can take it with them,
Yeah.
so they don't have to, they can actually see it on a diagram, do it with their hands. Hear me
Yeah.
talk about it. So
Does everybody leave with a tie fast tool? Do you have one for
No.
everybody?
No, they don't leave with a tie fast
Yeah.
tool.
Right.
Sorry.
Some people don't need. Some people probably don't need it. Right. They've already got their knots figured
Yeah,
out.
I'm actually petting one of my labs. He come over and said,
Oh,
hi.
cool.
So
Cool.
I
Yeah.
have
Right
another
on.
one over there, but
Nice. Yeah.
But,
So back. I guess back to the knots a little bit. So we talked about the tie fast tool and the knots. So other than that, there's no other knots we're missing, Roy. I guess if somebody didn't have the tie fast, then you'd have to learn the clinch knot.
then the next one, if you didn't have the tie fast for the marriage knot, I would probably use the uni knot.
Oh,
It's
the
a little
uni.
bit better than the blood knot.
It is. So the uni knot is similar to a blood, or it does the same purpose.
Yeah, but it's the breaking strength.
Is better than the blood.
Is better than the blood. Yeah, every time you wrap or you cross over a piece of monofilament,
Yep.
or fluorocarbon, you're creating a cutting edge.
Yeah.
So, and then the blood knot, the marriage knot, the one I use with the two.
Is the marriage knot the describe that one? Is that for tying your loops?
No, the marriage knot is when you tie 2 pieces of material together. So if you're going from, let's say, 5-pound tippet to 4-pound tippet, you can tie those together using the marriage knot. And all it is a nail knot on either side. And then when you tighten it down, it gets tight.
Yeah.
But you can actually use that marriage knot to marriage fluorocarbon with monofilament, and it will still hold.
Mm-hmm.
If you use a blood knot and try to marriage fluorocarbon to monofilament, it will break.
Oh wow!
Because the fluorocarbon will just cut right through the mono.
Oh gosh!
These actually like what we call.
So we're learning a lot. So if you're using fluorocarbon The blood knot's not going to be the knot you want to use.
Well, if it is, if you're using fluorocarbon and fluorocarbon.
Yeah, but not both.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's what's so great about different knots is that, once you learn them, then you can go, okay, this one's a little bit better, this one's not. Like
Yeah.
the marriage knot that I use, you can actually tighten it down, but before you tighten it down, let's say this, let's go this. When you tighten it down tight, the two tags are sticking out like this.
Yep.
Okay. But before you tighten it down tight, and if you take one of those tags and you run it through the middle, so it's through the little loop between the two pieces, between the two knots, and you tighten it down, it will actually come out at 90 degree.
Yeah.
So you can use that 90 degree as one of your drops.
Your drops. Yeah. Right. Your
So
dropper.
you can tie if you want to set up your
Yep.
Euro rig, you can do it that way, and it doesn't come off at a 30-degree angle. It actually comes off at a 90-degree angle.
Yeah, gotcha.
And you can use that for dry flies. If you're using, doing dry fly fishing, you want to fish a dropper, a hopper dropper style,
Yep.
or if you want to fish two dry flies, that's a way of doing it too.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's more universal than a blood knot. Even with a blood knot, when you put the thing through it, it doesn't really come out at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
It comes out.
So for the knot, I mean, basically, if you get that tool, that solves a lot of the things, because once you learn that, you can cover almost everything. You got that and the marriage knot. Those are kind of the two things you're using.
You can do it all. I do it
Yeah.
all with the tie fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I use it in saltwater too.
Yeah.
There's a big one that you can use in saltwater that you can tie up to 120 pounds
Yeah.
monofilament with it or fluorocarbon with it.
Wow.
So it's just a bigger tool.
Yeah.
But I use them everywhere. And going back to more knots. Okay, so
Yeah.
just to throw this out, because I know we're coming to the end, but
Yeah.
on that deep water rig, you can use a loop knot on the bottom of it, like a lefty's loop knot.
Yeah, like the open loop.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Which a lot of guys do. I don't.
You don't.
No, I actually just tie my nail knot right to it, and I tie it tight.
Yep.
And what I do is, because a lot of the balance flies that you buy in stores, they're not balanced.
They're not.
No, because they're commercially made.
Right.
They're not sitting there and making sure that they're balanced.
Oh, yeah.
They're just.
So they're not doing what you need.
They're
them
not going to
do.
be perfect.
Okay.
They're going to angle or.
And is that a bad thing if they're not balanced perfectly?
Well, it can be, because if you're trying to imitate a certain fly or a certain bait fish,
Yeah, you want it to be.
You want it to be. But
Yeah.
the way I do it is when I tie my terminal knot, which is the nail knot, right to the eye of the hook. What's great about it is I can take it and I can use the friction of the hook or the friction of the knot in the eye of the hook to make my fly.
To set it. So you kind of set it to the angle.
Yeah. So let's say, for example, on the hex nymph, I'll set it at a 30-degree angle, because that's how hexes swim.
Sure.
They're not good swimmers. They swim up and they fall.
Okay.
They fall. But on a bait fish, I might set it so it's balanced style.
Yeah. So it's balanced.
Or if I'm fishing, let's say, next to a rock pile, I might move it so it looks like it's swimming down to the rock.
Yeah,
pile.
right.
Or swimming away from the rock pile.
Yeah.
Okay, so
crazy.
You can kind of set those, and those settings, those fine tuning, as I call them, like using this little tool to set your depth.
Oh yeah,
those little fine tunings.
Yep.
It
makes a difference. Probably at the end of the day.
Actually, I was going to say 15 to 20% difference.
Yeah.
In hookups.
Right.
So when you're
makes sense.
When you're guiding, you want as many hookups.
Yeah, you want increase the odds. Right. I find that the big challenge for me, and I used to just use the clinch knot, and that was pretty with steelhead fishing especially. And I'm not the greatest caster, but what I would do is I'd cast and then I'd pull my fly in and check it, and it would be at a right angle to, because my cast was crappy or something.
Right.
And I found myself always fixing the fly because I didn't want it at a right angle. So I just went to open loop and, and that does give it more action. But also for me, it just allows me to not have to worry about the fly because I know it's not going to be caught up. Do you see that at all? How do you deal with that?
Well, that's the reason why I just fine tune them every time they
Yeah.
cast. I
Oh,
got to
so you
fine
so
tune
you
them.
bring them in, you fine tune them every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they get a
Yeah.
grab and they lose the fish,
Right.
all right, I tell them, hey,
Yeah.
strip it up, and I
Gotcha.
grab a hold of it, fine tune it,
Yeah.
throw it back out.
And are you making on when you're on stillwater with your clients or yourself, are you making a giant cast, or are you just kind of flipping it out there?
On the deep water stuff, we fish really close to the boat, so we're
Yeah.
fishing anywhere within 5 to
So
10
you're
feet.
just dropping it off and
We're
just
just
going
dropping
down.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Right.
on some of the other stuff like midges, I don't set midges. I use
No.
loop knots for the
Oh, you
midges.
do.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
I mean
Yep.
because they're just
Yeah.
going
Right.
straight
So
up
so the setting is more for that deep stuff where
for
you're
the
really
deep
just being
stuff. Yeah,
really exact. You're pinpointing that
I'm
exact
thinking.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is cool, which is a smart thing to do because yeah, you don't have to worry about casting it 80
And
feet out there.
if you're using, let's say, the floating
Yeah.
fly isn't a balance fly. It's actually a lead jig.
Mm.
So
Yep.
if you use the loop knot on that, you're good
Yeah.
or you can tie it right to it and use the friction and move it if you want to too. But
Yep.
it doesn't matter because they're manufactured in a way that they're almost always balanced or they're
Yeah.
always the same way.
They are.
So
That's cool. Wow.
yeah,
This is awesome. I think we've definitely hit on a few big things today, and I want to take it out of here. We always have our segment, our Wet Fly Swing Pro. This is our community. I love the talk you mentioned about the doing the tours because we're always putting together trips. We're always connecting in our community, and so today this is
and we
sponsored
do
by.
and we do like and just sorry to interrupt, but
Oh yeah.
we do soft hackles. We
Oh, you
fish.
do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
we
saw
do
that. Yeah, you guys do some wet flies and stuff.
soft
It's not
tackle
just
workshops. We do swinging workshops. Oh
Well,
yeah,
maybe that'll be for the next one. We'll,
streamers.
we'll have to talk to you
Yep,
more because definitely the trout spay and wet flies,
yep.
all that is
Oh
huge. But
yeah.
I just wanted to give one shout out to Patagonia because they're our today's sponsor, and
Okay.
we're kind of helping support the Swift Current waders, which I've been learning more about them. I've been wearing the Swift Current waders. They're awesome. The cool thing about Patagonia is obviously they're a great company supporting the planet and conservation, but they have some great products. I mean, I'm totally into it. So big shout out to Patagonia today. As we get into this and we wrap this up here, the question for you first is on our random segment. First on gear, I love the gear. We talked boats. On stillwater, we focus on that a little bit. Other than the tie right tool, what is the other piece of gear you have out there that's like that must have thing? Is there anything that's kind of
Well, that
unique or?
this little depth
Oh yeah,
sensor.
the clip.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
but
clip. You have to have that. That clip is key for fine tuning. Yeah.
yeah. But the other thing is some kind of a electronic device to find the bottom.
Yeah. Electronic.
You-
What do you think? Is there any recommendations? Like how if somebody didn't have a device right now, they wanted to get something for their boat. There's so many. Where do you start? Do you just
Yeah,
YouTube and
well, it
search?
matters on your boat. Like
Yeah.
float tubes, you can get rigs for your float tubes, little
Yeah.
tiny,
Yeah.
what we used
What
to
if
call
you had
the
what if
fish
you're
boat.
going out in a lake drift boat's not the best lake boat, but let's say you're going out in a drift boat.
Drift boats are tough. I actually use what we call the fish buddy, which is
Yeah.
one that actually has a stem on it, and I
Yep.
just set it outside the boat and
Yep.
turn
It
it
goes
on,
down.
and it shows me the bottom.
Oh, it does. So the fish buddy does that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you're in float tubes, I have guys that go out in float tubes and pontoon boats that they have more electronics. I mean, sonar, they got it all.
Right.
There's actually a little device that's the ball
Okay.
that you hook to your cell phone. It's Bluetooth to your cell phone, and
Yeah.
you throw the ball in the water, and it has a little tether.
Oh, really? Wow. So there's
What it
an actual
does-
sonar ball that goes in the water?
Yeah, and then you can look at it on your phone.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
So any kind of electronic device that you can find the bottom,
Yeah.
find out if it's rock, mud, or
Rock,
weed,
temperature, and see the
temperature.
fish, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Fish.
maybe if you want to go get the goggles, if you want to be crazy and go.
Yeah, if you
Next time I see somebody, hey, have you ever seen anybody with have you ever seen anybody with goggles out there?
I have. There is a guy out there that has the goggles on Lake Almanor.
Yeah.
But I played with them at the shot show,
At the show. Yeah.
and I was just like,
Yeah.
it'd be cool for a couple hours. And
I
then
know.
you'd
Well,
be like,
we do enough of looking at our phones throughout the day, right?
yeah, and I try to not look at the electronics a lot. I mean, when I get set, I'm like, okay. And
Yeah.
then somebody will ask me, well, is there fish here? And I'll go, I don't know. And they'll go,
Yeah.
what do you mean you don't know? And I'll go, okay. And I look over at the screen.
Right.
Yep, there's fish here.
Yeah, there's fish. Yeah, exactly.
You know? There's
Yeah.
always fish,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely. Cool. Well, give us so on again, we've been on this knot thing a little bit here today, but what are a few more on tips? Give us a couple tips for stillwater. We talked about if somebody's out there, they're going to follow what we're talking about today with maybe getting deep on some of these when they have to. What are a few things you're telling them today to maybe have success this year over the next year? Any
uh,
big tips that you tell your clients?
be patient.
Okay.
Keep your rod tip down. Rod tips to the indicator. I like the rod tips as low as possible,
Okay.
especially if you're sitting in a float tube. On a boat, I want
Oh,
them low
right.
too, because when you set that stuff, you want to set it with the most leverage you can get.
Okay.
So when your rod tips down low, you have a bigger swing when it comes to your set,
Oh, right. Right.
and you
Right.
can tighten all that stuff up. If you keep your
Yep.
rod up high, you're not going to have that big leverage.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
if you keep your rod down low, you'll be on the depth that you want, that you try
Oh,
so hard to get at. If you
right.
raise
Right
the
at the
rod,
depth.
you're going to raise that stuff out of the
Gotcha.
water.
Yep.
So that's
So your
probably,
tip is right, just touching the water.
I want it. Yeah, I want it where it's as close to the water. I don't want it in the water like
No.
Benny does. I
Okay, he
want it.
puts his in.
Yeah, I want it on the water or close
Yep.
to the
Because
water.
then you know exactly where you're at.
I know. Yeah, and you have big leverage
Yep.
because you got to tighten all that stuff up. You got
Yeah.
to
How does
go.
that look when you see a little something on your indicator? What's the set like?
The set is, I like a line set, or a
A
line
strip.
strike and then lift.
Oh, so
So
strip and
I
then
like
lift.
them to move the line with their hand,
Yep.
maybe a
Right.
few feet or whatever, and then lift all at the exact same time.
Yeah. So when you do that first strip, if they don't get anything, do you leave it in there and keep fishing?
I just say leave it back,
Yeah, leave
just
it
put it
back.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no
That's
reason to recast. There's no reason. But the other thing is on that deep water, like we were talking about before, most of the time, if we're fishing that deep, I'll actually have them bring it a whole thing in, and I'll reset that fly.
reset it,
And then
right.
we'll go back down.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and that deep, and you're saying the best time that really is during when things get warm up. They're going deeper.
well, yeah. And during the hex hatch, we fish, like we'll go out. A lot of people think that it's the evening, and it is, but we start at 5:30.
Yeah, before it's
and we'll,
dark.
and we'll fish nymphs that deep, and
Oh,
fish.
before they come up.
And they're rising already, but the
Yeah.
big fish will be coming in the shallows. The sun will be on the water.
Yep.
So when the sun comes off the water, then we might raise our flies in the water column. But
Yep.
until then, we don't,
Yeah.
because the fish aren't going to rise in the water column because
Yep.
of the sun.
Wow. This is
It's
cool.
all has to do with, that they don't want to get caught by the osprey and the eagles.
Yep.
And
Right.
there's a fine.
There's a balancing.
You're always trying to find that perfect balance.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
This is cool. Nice. Well, I think we could probably leave it there today. I think
okay.
we've really kind of set the stage for probably the next steps on this. You got a lot going. So we'll send everybody out to lancegrayandcompany.com if they have questions. Are you also on what's your social place?
I'm on Facebook, and
Okay.
I'm on Instagram, and
Yeah.
it's just Lance Gray.
Yeah, Lance Gray. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, we'll send everybody out there, and if we have questions, or hopefully down the line, we'll put together a trip, maybe learn these techniques on the water with you. And
Be awesome.
awesome, Lance. Well, thanks for all your time. This has been great today, and definitely looking forward to keeping in touch and seeing how everything looks in the future.
Great, Dave. I appreciate it. It's been a hard time planning all this because of all our schedules, but I'm glad we got it done. I had a good time.
All good. Thanks, man.
Now I can.
Let's do it. Yeah, me too. We're both jacked. Let's get on the water now.
Exactly.
All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Thank you.